Hey there, this is Kane with Content Harmony, and I wanted to take you through a quick walkthrough of how to get your Content Harmony account set up. When you first log in, you'll see this, a list of projects. And so as you're getting projects set up, if you're an agency or a consultant, you'll want to set up one project for each client. If you're an in-house marketing team or only working on one website, you'll probably want to use projects for different types of content. So for example, service pages, landing pages, product pages, articles, things like that. As you actually jump into each project, that's where our various types of reports live. Now, right now we have two types of reports. We have our brief workflows, which is what most folks are using to analyze a keyword report, build a content brief, and then grade and optimize their content. We also have this separate concept called search intent reports. You don't have to worry about those for right now. Search intent data is embedded inside of your brief workflow. When you go to run a new report, you just need to pick a single target keyword. So if I want to analyze fish oil benefits, I just need to run the single report. I don't need to do benefits of fish oil and duplicative keywords like that. That would create two reports. Right now, we support about 9 countries with English results, and we've got multilingual results coming next year. And so once you run that, it'll take us about 2 to 10 minutes on average to create a report. And then once you get into the finished report, that's where the actual workflow kicks off. Now, a Content Harmony workflow has 3 major sections. The keyword report, which is a snapshot in time of data we think you'd find helpful for content research and building out your brief. The content brief itself, and then the content grader. Now, you can work through these in whatever order you like, but I'm going to walk through them in kind of the typical workflow you'd do for a new piece of content. If your goal is to create a content brief, either you're a strategist creating this document to pass off to a client or writer, or maybe you're the writer producing a brief or an outline to run past another person on your team for approval, whatever it might be, that's where the workflow starts. So you can go through these various tabs of data we've created for, understanding the topic and how competitors are covering it, taking a look at competitor outlines and their H1, H2, H3, H4 sections to brainstorm your own outline, our question section where we pull in Google's people also ask questions, as well as top Quora threads, Stack Exchange threads, Reddit threads, all this stuff. And as you go through here, what you're able to do is highlight the stuff that sticks out to you. So I've actually got a couple questions already highlighted here. Anything with the blue highlights is stuff we've highlighted from the data set. And anything I highlight from the keyword report automatically will show up in my content brief. And so as I go through my content brief, you'll see pre-built sections that we give you. For example, what is this content about, which is where most of our teams will build their suggested outline for a writer. And right underneath, I've got H2s and H3s that I highlighted from various competitors where I want to add something similar to my content. So I'm adding, benefits of fish oil, and I've covered vision benefits, memory benefits, fetal development. I can go ahead and say, all right, I don't need vision loss and eye health anymore. I have my own version, which is vision benefits. I'm going to lump that all together. I don't need memory benefits as a highlight anymore. So I can get rid of highlights if I don't need them, if I've used them in my brief here. On the flip side, you'll have other sections like this where you just have a boilerplate recommendation for the writer. All of the below are really critical phrases to focus on, and you won't need to change that much from brief to brief. And those are the types of things that you can set up using our brief templates feature. So a lot of this data can be pre-filled from when you run the brief, so you don't have to keep typing it from project to project. Now, when you're ready to share your content brief, you can do that a couple ways. You can copy the brief to clipboard. We give you a jump link to Google Docs, but you can go paste the brief anywhere. Google Docs, Microsoft Word, Notion Docs. Here's an example of what that might look like. And you'll have a nicely formatted brief. You can choose whether or not to delete the link back to the report. And you can hand this out in a bunch of different ways. You can also just share the brief right inside Content Harmony. And so I'm going to use this one where it allows the user to edit the content creator. And what the user gets is a publicly available URL with a read-only version of the brief. They can't edit the highlights and data that's there, but you can choose whether or not they have access to the content grader. And so I'll jump back to the content grader. The content grader is kind of the final step of the workflow for new content, but you can use the content grader right up front if you're doing something like a content refresh project where you already have a page for this topic and you just want to paste it right in and grade the content as is. That's great too. What I've done here is actually pasted some content from the #1 result. And on our model, they score good right out of the box, which is pretty good. They use a little less than half of the phrases that we grade for, but they use the most critical phrases. So Content Harmony's grading system doesn't care if you've used the keyword 13 times, 35 times, whatever it might be. Fish oil actually shows up 130 times. That's fine. We are only grading you for the comprehensiveness of the content. So we have a weighted score based on the priority. The priority is based on how many competitors use that phrase. And so you get more points on the back end for using a phrase like fatty acids or fish oil, which are more critical to the topic, than you do for something longer tail like good fats or omega-3 supplements. At the same time, those are still important, relevant concepts. So if the writer uses them, we want to give the writer credit for that. And so throughout this, Content Harmony is pushing your writers to be more comprehensive and cover the topic more broadly. And you can choose, if there's things you don't want them to focus on, you can just go ahead and ignore those and exclude them from the model, and the scoring will adjust appropriately. So that's the core elements of Content Harmony. If you ever have questions, I'm always on the other end of live chat, and I love diving in and helping out. Always happy to tell you more about where we get our data, how it's processed, whatever I can that helps you get more value out of the workflow. Thanks. Looking forward to hearing from you.